Good morning, YouTube. Not started before. Oh. Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to my second live stream. So this morning we are doing the Yorkshire Royal Pump Rooms 8 course. One of my favourite Zwift courses. And it wasn't actually the first choice. I was going to do something a little bit shorter and then do a weight session straight afterwards. But the thing is, I find with Zwift, you got to ride the worlds when they're available. And I've got to say that Yorkshire is absolutely my favourite Zwift course, especially the Royal Pump Rooms. So just back from about an hour and 40 minutes along the trails with the dogs, and digging into this morning. Now, I might not do a lot of talking this morning because I'm going to try and get this done in the time that I've got. And I've set aside an hour this morning to spend in the pain cave, so it's a little bit close. So yeah, I'm going to spend an hour out here this morning, and if I've got it done in an hour, fine. If I haven't, I haven't. So, if you're unfamiliar with this course, 27 kilometres or thereabouts, maybe a touch over, 491 metres of elevation across its length. So you're getting what? You're getting roughly half the Road to Sky course elevation in roughly twice the distance. Having said that, if you've not ridden it before, it's no walk in the park. 2 KOMs along the route and a couple of sprints. Now, my watch is actually recommending recovery to me this morning, so I'll see how I feel when I get to the sprints and the KOMs. Cheeky little warm up here, and this is what I like about the way. Oh, thank you very much for that. Yes, Norman. Shits. This is what I like about the way Zwift put their courses together. They're, I'm sure, designed to give you the right level of warm up and interval and all that stuff. This particular town section, I think, would be based on Harrogate, if I'm right. So if you live in Harrogate, I'd be interested to know how close this is to the real thing. Oh no, that's it. Backed off. That'll learn me. Celebrated too early. Just going to let the heart rate come gently back here. Oops. Didn't want to do that. There we go. Right. Heart rate recovering nicely. Now I'm using the Kickr headwind fan this morning, and that's something I'm going to do a review on. Really expensive though. I mean, I think 250 quid for a fan. You've got to ask yourself, you know, can you really justify it? And it's a good question, because can you justify it? Some people wouldn't even think about it, you know. That's not me, unfortunately. I do, despite what it would appear, have limitations on my budget, but I am spending a lot of time out here in the pain cave as I get myself back into shape. So anything I can do to improve my comfort and experience during that time, to me, is an investment. And beforehand, I was using one of the big sort of stainless steel 20-inch floor fans, and that's a great thing. I mean, what was that from Amazon? I think it's about 40 quid or something, and it shifts a ton of air. But what I find is that it shifts air everywhere, whereas with the headwind fan there, it's almost in a concentrated jet covering you. And I love the heart rate function on it, which is what I'm using today. You can just leave it plugged in, and as soon as I walk in the pain cave, provided I'm wearing the same heart rate monitor it was paired with the time before, it'll just kick in. So I don't have to worry about turning it on or trying to get Alexa to turn it on. Is it just me, Or has Alexa started getting deaf and or stupid? All of my Echo devices have suddenly, it's like they've forgotten that I'm talking to them. If I was a conspiracy theorist, which I hasten to add I'm not, I'd be wondering if Mr. Bezos was planning a bit of planned obsolescence in. I mean, let's be honest, those dick-shaped spaceships must cost a lot of money, so yeah, he's got to get that from somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. I'm certainly not going to go out and replace them, because they cost enough money in the first place. So again, if you've never ridden this course before, or perhaps are new to Zwift, there's a really long, steady climb away from the town here. Bit soul destroying, to be honest, but luckily you're doing it with fresh legs. And the payback is that you get a nice easy descent back into the town when you finish the route. And again, if you are watching this out of curiosity, not because you follow my channel, you may never have seen Zwift before. It's basically, it is at its heart a video game, but a cycling, it simulates cycling in its own virtual world, or range of virtual worlds. So as you can see today I'm in Yorkshire, and if you pair it with a smart bike, so that's basically an indoor training bike or indoor trainer that attaches to one of your standard bikes that can talk with the PC, it will simulate these gradients. So at the moment, if you look in the top right hand corner of the screen, with the sort of profile map and what looks like a GPS navigation display, you can see I'm currently on a 3% incline. If you look over on the left hand side, you can see I'm currently pushing out 220 watts or thereabouts to maintain 15 kilometers per hour up at the top of the screen there, and that's with a heart rate around 134, 135. Because I'm using a Wattbike smart bike here, that will even communicate its gear selection to the computer. So looking at that top left panel again, you can see I'm gear 12. I've got 22 available on this bike. And again, if you've never ridden a road bike with a power meter on, 232 watts might not sound a lot. All I'd say is go and try it for 10 minutes. And I'm not fit by any stretch of the imagination. over on the right of the screen, behind me, and I've just noticed the green screen needs an adjustment because there's a big shaft of light coming through. But you've got a panel that shows you basically who else is riding, but it also shows you how hard they're working. So you can see I'm at the top of the list there. That triathlete, I am making 1.8 watts per kilo, and I've been riding 6.3 kilometers. Now look, that guy below me, obviously a lot fitter, 3.5, 3.6 watts per kilo. See ya. So if your experience of indoor cycling has only been these god-awful old exercise bikes at a gym, staring at a wall rather, or maybe even trying to watch some telly in the gym, you can see this is a hell of a lot more engaging. So I'm running this on the application itself on a Mac Mini M2. That's the base model. 8 gigs of RAM, 256 hard drive, and I did a review on that at the weekend as a machine to run this on, and I've got to say, for my needs, I wouldn't spend more than that base model. I'm even video editing on one of these. The video I put out at the weekend, no problems at all editing it, and even exporting the file, it flew through it, and it does all of that without deafening you with fan noise. Fantastic. Right, so I'm just going to take advantage of the recovery it's given me here. So you can see watts per kilo down to round 1, had dropped to 80 watts. We're now back into a 5% rise. We're back to 233 watts. One thing I do find about this is if I've got a workout planned or a specific goal for a session, if I'm not using their workout feature, which kind of locks you down to a power range for the interval that you're doing, I do find that I have to be very disciplined with myself, and for example, not go and chase matey boy there with the big hair. He's flying. And again, I didn't see how far that guy was into the course, but yeah, he's smashing it. even if that's a warm-up. Now, for me, right now, all of my workouts are kind of zone 2 fat burners. So I'm just keeping it there. And this is, I find, the difference between the sort of training I'm doing now and when I'm training for an event. So the goal is that next year I'll be back in triathlon properly, probably with an Olympic as a B race and a middle distance as a race. So when I get to training for those, I'll kind of have some specific time and speed goals. 2023 for me is all about shifting the timber I seem to have accumulated over the last 4 or 5 years, getting myself down to a reasonable or usable racing weight, and then starting in 2024 to look at performance goals. So the majority of my training, I'd like to think I'm doing zone 2 or 3. Having said that, yeah, of course I want to be faster. But obviously, one of the things about going faster is the lighter you are, the faster you are generally. So as the weight comes off, I'm hoping to see, on the road at least, an improvement in my average speeds. Blimey. And apologies if I'm hanging a bit here. I normally don't talk to people when I'm riding this, which suits me down to the ground. So yeah, 2023 all about weight loss. Currently, after having found my focus again, which I set about getting myself back in shape in earnest, I would say 5 weeks ago. Just going to take this recovery because I know what's coming next. So yeah, I set about getting myself back in shape in earnest about 5 weeks ago, and yesterday was down 11 kilos. Which I think is a reasonable pace to lose weight at. Now, obviously, I know that when you start stripping the timber off, you're going to lose more in the first few weeks than you will after that. So I'm kind of capitalizing on this period to consolidate some good practices and a bit of weight loss. Crikey, look at my previous. I am being lazy, aren't I? Just going to get myself up this before I start talking again. So if I take you back to the game screen and that top right hand corner again. You can see the profile at the bottom with the white dots and a few flags on it. The Zwift flag at the start, checkered flag for the KOM, and a green flag for the sprint. Each one of those white dots represents a rider. The big white dot with an orange arrow is me, and further up the road, more towards the right of the screen, the thing that looks like a shield or something is my previous personal best for this course. But like I say, I'm not out for personal bests this morning. I'm just out to burn some calories. And of course, you need to be hydrated to burn calories. Now my approach to weight loss is quite a simple one. I am a believer in the simply, I wouldn't say eat less, I'd say eat right, move more. And it's, you know, it amazes me when I look at YouTube how complex a lot of very successful YouTubers seem to make losing weight, whilst at the same time saying this is easy, and then explaining their easy method in a half-hour video, at the end of which you find out they're promoting a book or a product or a plan. But I am a great believer that if you eat the right food, stuff that isn't highly processed, stuff that is nutritious, stuff that simply does you good, whilst being not too calorie dense, and you combine that with an increase in the work you're doing, you will lose weight. So you can see I've got a couple of ghost riders with me here. The one currently behind me is my personal best for my previous effort on this climb. The one disappearing into the distance is where Zwift has said, you know what, here's another rider who you could probably match. So it kind of dangles it as a carrot. Here comes that previous. I'll let him go. Let's so yeah, I just think with Zwift, the gamification element is superb. As a tool for keeping you motivated, I think it's right up there. So I'm going to keep myself steady. I don't really want much over 2 watts per kilo this morning. Lordy. The old watt bike is beginning to sound like it needs a service. I can hear it sounds like a bearing on its way out. So if you're a watt bike owner, keep your eyes open for another video on watt bike maintenance. Perfect, 2 watts per kilo. And this is where I'm having to be quite disciplined, especially because I've got an audience potentially watching my former self disappear up the road and just letting him go. Time check. Oh, there's the top. Always a welcome sight. So yeah, if you've never used a setup like this, as I hit these gradients, the computer and application is talking to the bike, and the bike is piling on the resistance to make a hill feel like a hill. And trust me, it does. So what I've done there, you will, when you go under an arch, like this one up here, you will get what is referred to as a power up. So you can see the circle, top left of the screen with the countdown timer on it. That power up was the equivalent of drafting someone for 30 seconds. So as I go under this arch, I hope to get another one. Right, so what I've got there is getting more aero for 30 seconds. So, is that better? Yes. Few microphone problems there. I know it seems strange to stand up on a downhill, but sometimes you just got to stretch your legs out. Yep, down the gears. Now my approach to climbing is always to kind of spin into it and try and keep the cadence up as long as I can. Slowly. There we go. Oh, thank you very much, Joe. Lash git going past me on the tri-bars up a hill. I'm only jealous. Chapeau. Holy. 38 minutes in. I've got about 20 minutes left available to me. I'm going to go to the hour on Zwift this morning. And you know what? If I haven't finished the course, I haven't finished the course. I do, unfortunately, have to work. So we're back in the town here, and you can see we're coming up on another sprint. I don't know if I'm interested. Yeah, personal best. So there I am. Slight decline, or descent rather. I've been in decline for years. Slight descent. Letting the heart rate come back to me after the sprint. One to 1.5 watts per kilo. And like I say, really my goal for today is an hour steady, probably between 1.5 and 2 watts per kilo. Now this to me is where training for weight loss is completely different from training for an event. Let's wind the clock back to training for Vichy. I knew from the moment I entered, I had a given number of days between then and I think it's 25th of August 2016 to get myself iron fit. So you got a finite goal that's performance related and you train accordingly. Burning fat is a bit different because you cannot say with absolute confidence on a given day I will have lost this many kilos, because there are a ton of things that affect it. Environmental factors, some days you're heavier than others. So for me, it's just a case of knowing you're doing the right things. So, we're back to eat healthy, nutritious, non-calorie dense food, and sticking with I guess it's more endurance based sort of training regime where you're where you are doing sort of long aerobic sessions and nothing crazy. Should have dropped a gear there. Right, so I'm keeping it like this. Orders from the team car. There's previous me. Burning some matches. Come on. So yeah, I think training for weight loss, just stick with, for me it would be more about sticking with some sort of calorie plan. That's what I do. So I aim for, however I get it, a couple of hours of aerobic exercise per day, which involves, at the moment, a long early walk with the dogs, which I love, then an hour in the pain cave, which is often 40 minutes on the bike, 20 minutes of weights, or 40 minutes on the bike, 20-minute run on the treadmill. And I do weigh myself every day. Now, I think opinion is divided on whether that's a good thing. My wife, who has very often been to slimming clubs, they try and make people stick to the once a week weigh-in. And I wonder if part of that is because, you know, you only weigh once a week with them, so maybe they're creating a little bit of a perception that they are owning or driving your weight loss. And yeah, it is, I'll be honest with you, somewhat demotivating weighing yourself every day, but I think it's a healthy thing. I'm just going to back up here whilst I'm talking. Oh, I love an excuse. So I think weighing yourself, right, okay, weight loss. In an update video I put out a couple of weeks ago, I referred to it as a journey. And it is. And like any journey, you need to know where you are at any given point. So those daily weigh-ins do fluctuate, but the important thing is, for those of you familiar with graphing, you can put a trend line through it. And what you will see, if you're doing it right, is the trend line is downward. I'm just going to stand and stretch my legs for a bit. Apologies if I nudge the mic. So what we got left? 9 kilometers and about another 160 meters of climbing. I have a feeling I'm going to be stepping off the bike just before we get back to Harrogate. And again, you know, for me, that's a little bit of a that messes with my head somehow. I've always, on Zwift, if I set out to ride a course, I ride the course. But, obviously, as I say, my focus is a bit different now. Oh, so how do we do? I think that's about my second fastest. And I'll take the recovery. Yeah, so I've always considered it a bit of a failure if I didn't complete the course. But of course it isn't. It is, if you're viewing this as a game, but if you are viewing this as a training tool, And that's probably quite a healthy thing, that you can walk away from it when you've met your goal for the day. So other things I'm doing that are improving the general health, as I mentioned in a previous video, completely knocked alcohol on the head, and frankly couldn't ever see myself wanting to drink alcohol again, because when you spend even as little as a month without it as a regular part of your life, be that daily, every other day, weekly, whatever, man, you just feel so much better. Sleeping like a champ, according to Garmin, and just honestly feel so much more alive, I think is the way that I put it. So yep, alcohol's completely gone. And even what I'm doing right here is kind of a departure from, if we went back even 6 weeks. On a day like this where the wife's on a day off and I've been out super early with the dogs, I'd probably right now be driving to McDonald's to pick up breakfast. But instead, I'm out here suffering and letting you fine people watch it. And that's the thing. Weight loss isn't complicated, it's just hard. And you'll see any number of videos on YouTube that claim they've got a surefire, dead easy, eat what you want plan. If they work for you, more power to you. I take a slightly more skeptical, and I would like to think pragmatic view that there's no such thing as a free lunch, literally. And for each one of these people that promises you easy weight loss, I'll bet you there is some arcane plan behind it. You need to buy a book, follow their plan, buy their supplement. Nope, I think it's a lot easier. Eat right and do the work. The one place where I would say that science does come into it is probably the exercise. Well, definitely the nutrition aspect. I am using MyFitnessPal, and I know it has its critics, and yeah, you know, it's calorie counting like that. There's always scope for error, so I think you just need to accept that. But I think what apps like MyFitnessPal are really good at, if you look at MyFitnessPal, you know, the latest premium version, stretch the legs, it will show you all your macros. Now, stuff like knowing your macronutrients on a daily basis, I think that's really valuable. But also, I think even if the calories in it aren't 100% accurate, just the process of being conscious of, I'm going to eat this, what's it going to do to me, and logging it, does certainly make you think twice. So, as we enter the last 4 minutes, I'm going to knock those gears off, and I'm just going to have an easy spin to the finish line. Not at the finish line, wherever I stop will be the finish line on the hour. If you've watched any of this, you have my sincere thanks. I did try to put a live chat panel on there. I think I've messed that up. So I'm no OBS expert. I will play around with that before I try this live streaming malarkey again. But in the meantime, may I wish you a happy Tuesday. Monday's done. It's all good. It's all downhill to the weekend after tomorrow. And wish everyone a healthy, happy week. And I'll see you in the next live stream. Yeah, I've got to try and stop this. There we go.